Welcome, fam. My name is Ashley Hollowell, or as everyone calls me, Hawaiian. Today we are going to be talking about how to do this business as a parent, right? When you got kids at home, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom doing this as income. Maybe you're working another job and you got kids and you're doing this, right? Whatever that may be. If you have kids, maybe you're a dad, right? Stay-at-home dad, or you got a job, same thing. If you are a parent, this is a great training for you. I hope that I can share some tips and tidbits that I have figured out and that have worked for me. Okay. I don't have all the answers, right? Not everything that I do works. But I have found a few things that do work. So I want to share those because I know building this business when you have kids is not easy. It's definitely not easy. I wish somebody had done this training for me, so I had a little better knowledge coming into it, right? Guys, the biggest thing is your kids cannot be an excuse. Okay. Doesn't matter if you have 1, 5, 10, doesn't matter if you had 20 kids. They cannot become an excuse, right? Cannot become an excuse for not building this business. Everybody could have an excuse of some sort, right? And kids could be a great one. Oh, my kids got soccer, my kids got baseball, my kids got this, my kids got that, right? My son has therapy, right? That we just got back from this morning. But they can't be an excuse to not do this business. Like Christina just said in the chat, they got to be the reason to do this business, right? We got to look at them as the reason to push forward, the why, the reason to keep going, right? We may lose a little sleep, hopefully not a lot, but we may lose a little bit of sleep. But listen, we're parents, we're used to that, right? Especially my mamas. If you nursed, or you were the one who got up and fed a bottle in the middle of the night when they were babies, and that's most of us, right? My husband never got up once, okay, with either kid. If that's you, we already know how to operate on little sleep, right? We also know how to operate on little food too. So we can do that, right? We know how to put the grind in, how to have that grit, how to operate on less than. So we got to make sure that they are our reason to continue going. Okay. All right, guys. Now I am going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to play this. All right. Guys, working from home with kids. Okay. 1-star double platinum, 2-time I-10 card earner. But most importantly for this training, I'm a mom of 2 boys. Okay. My oldest son is 6, a little over 6. He turned 6 in January. He is autistic. My youngest son is Cooper. He is 2.5. He'll be 3 in August. And they be wild, right? They be wild sometimes. With Bryson, I started this when he was about 3. No, he had just turned 4. He was like a month old, or a month over 4, sorry. When I started this, Cooper was 6 months old. Okay. So I was a pretty much brand new mom of 2. I knew how to operate with them as a mom of 1, but I was still trying to figure out how to operate as a mom of 2. Right. And when I had Cooper and started this business, I was working from home as a therapist and had both the kids at home with me. So I would see clients during the day, have them home. Most of the time, Cooper would be sitting in his bouncer next to me, and I would have a basket full of toys right here in my lap that I would hand him one at a time because the child couldn't hold on to nothing. So I would hand him like one toy at a time while I'm counseling somebody, right? We just figure it out. Now, in that time is when I started this. So guys, I've figured out a few things that work for my family. I hope that I can share those with you guys and that it works for your family, or at least gives you some ideas. Maybe you take what I said and you tweak it a little bit, right, to make it work for you. Now, biggest thing, guys, plan ahead. And I know as moms, sometimes we struggle at that, right? I struggle at planning ahead all the time, but the most successful people, and I just heard this on an ET conference that I'm going to every single night this week. Successful people are successful because of their routine. Okay. Successful people do not leave it to chance. They don't fly by the seat of their pants. They don't just say, oh, I'm gonna wake up and let me see what I want to do today. Right. ET even shared his daily schedule that he has made for the entire week. And it was like minutes, right? Like it was like down to the minute of what he needed to be doing all throughout the day. Biggest thing that you can do is plan ahead, guys. Wake up before the kids get up. Right now, granted, if your kid wakes up super early, that's kind of hard to do, right? If you're not a really early bird. But I found my son usually wakes up about 7. My oldest one usually wakes up about 7. I don't anymore because I've got a better plan and my husband's at home, so I don't necessarily have to do that. But before my husband retired, I would wake up between 6 and 6:15, get up, and I would reply to prospects. I would do some mock bookings, right? I would get my emails read. I would check my chat. I'm checking in with people. I would get a good 45 minutes to an hour of work in uninterrupted, right? Uninterrupted. He was not getting out of bed until 7. And I could get a solid focused hour of work in before he ever got up. And then when he got up, I'm already awake and like going, right? Enough to be ready to take on the day, right? I'm already in a better mood. I'm not groggy or anything like that. My other biggest thing was utilize nap time. Guys, if you have more than one kid, they may nap on different schedules, right? If that's the case, I'm going to talk about some other things in a minute. So we'll talk about that, but utilize nap time. Most kids, I'll say most because not all, most kids will nap for a good hour. A lot of them will nap for an hour and a half or 2. That's a lot of time, right? Like that's a lot of time right there. And it doesn't always take a whole lot of time to do a mock booking. If you wake up early, you could look up the mock booking, right? Get it posted to your page, share it into some groups that morning. Then at nap time, all you got to do is go in and share that mock booking into some other groups, right? So we're talking maybe 5-10 minutes, right? So if you still need to do housework or something like that, or even have a little bit of time to yourself, that's okay. But planning ahead for that, right? Utilize bedtime. Both of my kids, when I started, were in bed no later than 8. My youngest one obviously went to bed before that. He would go to bed about 6:30 or 7, but Bryson would be in bed by 8. And I would stay up until about 10 or 11. So I had a good 2 to 3 hours that I could sit and devote to work, right? I could do my shares in the last group. If I'm doing a mock booking, I could do my 3rd share for the day into new groups right after I put him to bed about 8:30 or so. If I had somebody that reached out about a quote, right? They asked about a quote, I would go ahead and start looking it up then. All right, I'll have something to you within 24 hours. Guys, you do not have to do everything in a day. Okay, if somebody reaches out to you, you don't have to turn around and have that quote to them within an hour. You can let them know, I will have something to you within 24 hours. That's a reasonable time. You can even tell them, I want to make sure and do my due diligence or make sure I'm finding you the best possible package, right? Nobody's going to be mad at you for that. Another thing which we're going to talk about on the next slide is plan activities. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and skip over that because we're going to go into that in just a minute. Think outside the box. Okay, don't try the same things every single day. You don't necessarily have to have the exact same schedule every day. Think outside the box and think of new and creative ways that you can steal 5 or 10 minutes here and there to do this business. Okay, ask your partner for help. If you're a single parent, first off, kudos, because you are superheroes in my mind. Okay, but if you have a partner, obviously, hey, when they get home, when my husband used to get home at 6 o'clock before he moved to nights, when he would work days, when he would get home at 6 o'clock, I would take time and I'd be like, hey, I need you to take the kids. First off, mama needs a break because mama's about to lose her mind. But I've been with these kids all day, but I need you to take the kids. You can do whatever, right? Set them in front of the TV. I don't care what you do, but I'm going to go in the room. I'm going to do some work and I'm going to have a little bit of downtime. Okay. Get that help. You don't have to do this on your own. Okay. If you're a single parent, I highly suggest utilizing your parents, your in-laws, siblings, friends, right? Hey, I utilize my parents, right? If I need a break. Hey, mom, can you watch the kids on Friday night? Or my mother-in-law will watch them every now and then for me, right? If you don't have parents or in-laws that will help, get a friend, right? Get a friend that can help. Find a Mother's Day Out program. Those are usually pretty cheap. And you could just do that one day a week, right? Mother's Day Out program, you go drop the kid off for it's usually like 4 or 5 hours, right? Maybe 6, depending on the one that you do. But usually they're way cheaper than any kind of daycare. Okay. Take them to a Mother's Day Out program or ask some friends. Hey, do you guys want to have a play date? We can drop the kids off. Like we can rotate, right? I'll do it this week. You do it next week. We just come and drop the kids off and then we can, kind of go and have some time to ourselves, and you rotate it. Think outside the box. Okay. Schedule posts. Guys, you can do this as long as your mock booking does not include airfare. You can schedule your posts for the entire week. Now, if it does include airfare, you need to double check that price has not changed before you post it. So if you're going to schedule it, I would definitely look it up before it's going to post to make sure that the price has not changed. Or right after it posts, go in and verify that it hasn't changed and then just edit your post if it has, right? But scheduling posts, if you have a Facebook business page, your e-suite or whatever it's called, whatever suite, business suite, it will allow you to schedule your posts, and you can schedule them for the whole week, right? Like you could totally do that. Schedule your mock bookings for the first thing in the morning. And then when you get up, now you've already got your mock booking. That cuts out a little bit of time. You just need to go and share it, right? Schedule those posts though. All right. My biggest thing that I found, guys, when I needed to work throughout the day and it wasn't nap time or it wasn't bedtime or it wasn't the morning before my kids got up, when it was the middle of the day and I needed to work, right? I needed to do some stuff. Maybe it was when I was team building and I had people on a presentation and I needed to respond to them at the end of it. So I needed my kids to not be all up in my hair, right? I would sit them down and give them an activity to do that I knew would keep them entertained for at least 30 minutes or more. We have kinetic sand. My kids love kinetic sand. It makes a slight mess if they drop it on the floor. But the best thing about kinetic sand, guys, it stays together. Like it's not sand where it's like you drop it and it's like 1,000 grains, right? Kinetic sand stays together. So it's like chunks, right? Like you can pick it up in chunks. I love kinetic sand because it doesn't make a massive mess, right? And my kids can play with it without a ton of supervision. Now, if you have young kids and they like to put stuff in their mouth like Cooper did, you got to watch for that, right? We don't eat the kinetic sand. But what I did is I got a bag of kinetic sand. It was like it's a big bag. I got a bag of kinetic sand from the store. Then I went and got toys that are like little, you would actually use them at the beach, like beach toys, right? A shovel, little sand castles that are like maybe this big, right? They're not very big, but little sand castles, little digging tools. Like I went and bought that at like Dollar Tree, right? And it came like a package. And I would get the kinetic sand. I would split it in half. Here's Cooper's half. Here's Bryson's half. Take the toys and lay them out on the table between the two of them. And now they've got toys to entertain them. Bryson would make a whole city out with this kinetic sand, out of these different sand castles that we got. By the time that I would get done responding to prospects or doing a mock booking or whatever, right? That like 30 to 45 minutes. By the time I would get done, I would go over to the table. If I was sitting on the couch, I'd go over to the table. He would literally have a whole city built right in front of him. There was like 7 or 8 different sandcastle types, and it literally looked like a city. And he'd be like, Mom, look at all this. This is so cool, right? That's one activity. Play-Doh. Play-Doh is another activity that you can do. Guys, let me tell you the best advice I ever got when it came to Play-Doh. Let them mix up the colors. It really doesn't matter, right? I'm a big person. It irritated the crap out of me at first. Let me just tell you, it still kind of gets me a little bit sometimes. But one of my friends that we've been friends for like 10 years now, she was like, girl, just let them mix it up. It really doesn't matter, right? Like they're just going to play with it. It's okay. It's not a big deal. Just let them mix up the colors and let them have a ball. You don't have to sit there and supervise nearly as much if you just let them mix them up. So now that's what we do. I just put all the Play-Doh out on the table and I walk away because I don't want to look at you mixing them up because that's going to just get on my nerves, right? But I can walk away and I can let you mix them up and then I can come back later and pick it up real fast and just put it in random buckets and go, right? Another one is coloring. Now, this obviously your kid is going to have to like to color. This one doesn't work always for me because my boys get bored with coloring. But I threw it in there because I know a lot of girls, if you have girls, a lot of times they like to color. Some boys like to color. My boys are just not a huge fan of it. They get a little bored with that. Outside play. Guys, we have a very small backyard, but even when we had a bigger backyard at our other house, it was fenced off. So I could literally send my kids outside. We now have patio furniture. So I could go out there and sit on the patio and they could just play, right? Like they've got toys out there. They can go down their slide. They can climb on whatever, right? They can just play. I would have all kinds of outdoor toys that they can play with. I would send them out there and I would sit out there and work either on my phone or on my computer while they're playing, right? They can go outside, get some energy out, right? If your kids are like my kids, they got all the freaking energy in the world. So getting outside helps with that, right? Arts and crafts. Again, my kids, this is hit or miss. It kind of depends on what we're doing. But if they like to paint, which granted paint, you're gonna have to pay a little more attention, but if they like to paint, if they like to make cards, guys, anytime there's a holiday coming up, this is a great one that I use because I will have them make cards for my parents or my in-laws or my sister, right? We'll just pick some people and we'll have them make a card. And Bryson is old enough now that he can actually write. He can write his name. He can spell. Like he's pretty smart. So he can do a whole lot, right? I'll give them little stamps or little stickers to put on it, or I'll just give them some crayons and they can color on it, right? Or draw something on there. So arts and crafts is a really good one too. And you can always do arts and crafts that are not messy, right? Or that don't require a whole lot of supervision. Puzzles and games. Bryson is a massive puzzle genius, I swear. At 2 years old, he was doing puzzles for 6-year-olds. I think it has something to do with his autism, the way his brain works. He was just phenomenal at puzzles. So he would sit there and he would put a puzzle together for like an hour or more. I mean, like it was a great thing. Now he doesn't do as many puzzles. He'll do them every now and then, but he likes games, like board games. So him and Cooper now will sit and they'll play that Don't Break the Ice game, old game, right? But they love to smash the little ice nuggets, right? So they'll go sit over there together and they'll play that. And I don't have to be involved, right? I can sit right there and watch them and work while I do it. Snacks, always, right? I can go sit my kids down at the table. Hey, here's a snack. I've got about 5 or 10 minutes, maybe 15. They eat kind of slow sometimes. Maybe 15 minutes that they can have a snack and I can just take a minute to just do what I need to do, right? TV, obviously, if you're a big fan of TV, we try to limit TV and tablets. Those kind of go in together. But TV and tablet, if I absolutely need to, I can set them in front of the TV for 30 minutes while I'm trying to do something. Guys, all of these activities, you don't always necessarily have to be working this business during these activities. These can be utilized to help give you time other times of the day to work this business by using these. And while they're doing these activities, you could be cleaning up the kitchen, emptying the trash, doing your house duties, right? Because we know that a big excuse that we use is, I don't have time to do the house stuff and this business and have my kids at home, right? So we can use these activities to go clean the kitchen or go clean a bathroom. And if you will say, hey, I don't have to clean the whole house in a day, I can clean one room per day. By the end of the week, I've cleaned the whole house, right? Now, you can set them in front of the TV. You can give them a tablet if they have a tablet, and give, 30 minutes to an hour. That's a lot of time to get stuff done, right? Some people can clean their whole house in an hour. So I had a friend that she could clean a 2-story house, and it was a massive house. She could clean the whole thing top to bottom in like an hour 15. It was crazy. The other thing about this business, guys, include them in it. Teach them stuff. We're setting an example for a different way to live, right? We're setting an example of, you don't have to go into corporate America. You don't have to answer to somebody else. You can create your own wealth and own your own business. They see us doing that, so they're going to learn a lot from that, right? Like, they're going to see us doing that and setting that example, and they learn a lot from that. But when you include them, they learn even more. Tommy Joe is a perfect example of this. Tommy Joe includes her kids. If she's sitting on a training, a lot of times they'll sit there with her, right? They'll sit there and listen to her. Sometimes she's leading the training, and I can see her look over and be like, oh yeah, that right there, right? Like, her kid is right there next to her. Her kid can hear her teaching other people and is sitting right there getting the same knowledge that all of us are getting. Include them, teach them, right? You'll see my kids pop in on stuff all the time, mainly because they want to say hi to Christina or Tommy or Amy, or right. They just want to be nosy sometimes. And my Koopy will come up, hi, Cassina. That's what he calls her. And he just wants to come say hi to her, right? But I'll let him do that. I'll let them come stand right here, and they can listen to a training. And as long as they're not being super crazy, right? But I try to include them to show them that they don't have to live the same life that the world tells them that they have to live. Some do's and don'ts, guys. Do make a daily plan. Like I said, successful people thrive in a schedule. Make a weekly plan. So plan out your week, even if it's not minute for minute the whole week. Plan out your week to say, okay, Monday, I want to do this mock booking. Tuesday, I want to do this one. Wednesday, I want to do this one, right? Make a loose plan. Then the night before, you can make a detailed plan for the next day if you want. Now, if you're Superwoman and you already know, like, I can make this detailed plan for the whole week and I can stick to it, that's great. Listen, I can't, because I don't know what I'm doing on Friday and it's already Wednesday, okay? But if you can do that, go for it, right? Like, that's just even better. But if you need to go day by day, that's okay. But have some kind of loose weekly plan. We like to set our plan and our goals on Sundays because that's the first day of the week, right? And it's the first day before we start working. I don't want to set it on Monday because Monday's a work day, right? I want to have my plan in place before Monday. So I do it on Sunday night. I set up my goals. What do I want to accomplish this week, right? What am I trying to work on this week? And I write them down. They're up on my board right up here. And as I complete them, I check them off, right? Because that gives me a little bit of pumped up, right? Like, makes me feel a little alive. Hey, I did that, right? Set goals every week. Guys, I don't go a week without setting goals. And if you could see right now, it's over here, but I actually, on the very first day of the year, January 1, I set goals for the entire year. And I would put them. So I've got some that are like, I want to complete this by March 1st. I want to complete this by June 1st. I want to complete this by September 1st, every 3 months, right? By December 31st, by the end of the year. I set those goals. Y'all, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 goals total. I've completed all but 4. All but 4 already. Y'all, some of those were my 12-month goals. But because I had them up on my board and I was working on them every single week, they came to fruition before the end of the year. Right? So I've already completed 8 of my 12, and we're just now at the midpoint of the year. Set your goals. I promise it makes a massive difference. So I have my yearly goals. Then every single week, like I said, we set our weekly goals. Make sure those weekly goals are in line with your yearly goals. Because if you're working on weekly goals that ain't the same as a yearly goal, what are you doing? Right? We've got to break those yearly goals down into steps, into months, into weeks, into days, right? We should be making daily moves each day towards those yearly goals. Set them each week. Have an accountability partner. Y'all, I've got a couple. Christina is probably my biggest one. Not probably, she is my biggest one, right? We talk daily. We check in daily, right? If I have something, like if I need to talk about something, if I have a question, if I just need to hash something out, right? She's my sounding board, right? That's my accountability partner. I've also got Tommy Joe. I've also got Amy, right? I talk to these people quite often, and they all fill a different need, right? They're all a little bit different. They're very much alike. Don't get me wrong, very much alike. But they're all a little bit different too. Tommy Joe's a little more direct, right? Like if I know that I don't want any like sugarcoating it, she's going to give me the straight answer, right? Nah, girl, you can't be doing that, right? Amy, if I need a mom talk, Amy going to come in with the mom talk. If I need encouragement, Christina going to come in with the encouragement, right? They can all do all of those, but that's just kind of their personalities. That's their first go-to, right? Have those accountability partners. Now, the don'ts, like I already said, don't let kids become an excuse. That just can't happen, right? We could use anything as an excuse. Y'all, I got up in the middle of the night last night, stubbed my toe so hard on the couch, thought I broke it for a minute, took my breath away. I could have used that as an excuse. Oh, my toe's hurting today, right? I don't think I can work. It could literally be anything. We could use anything for an excuse. Don't let your kids become an excuse. Use them as fuel. Use them to encourage you, to push you. Let them become your why, not your excuse. Don't procrastinate. Y'all, I can be a procrastinator if I allow myself to be, but I don't allow myself to be because then I don't get nothing done, right? I have lazy days sometimes and I feel terrible at the end of those days. It's the worst. I hate it because I'm like, I feel so unproductive, right? Like I didn't do nothing today. And granted, that's needed sometimes, right? Like we need time to just kind of chill sometimes, but don't procrastinate. Oh, I'll do that later. Oh, I don't have time for that. No, make the time. Do it now, because later you don't know if maybe your kid is only going to take a 30-minute nap that day instead of an hour, and it just cut into half your time to do stuff, right? Do it now while you have the time. Don't do it alone. Even if you're a single parent, don't do it alone. Find a partner, right? Not a partner that way, but like find somebody in this business, like an accountability partner, right? Find somebody that you can talk to on those hard days, that you can go to, that you can check in with, that checks in with you, right? That encourages you. I tell people all the time, Christina is like the greatest hype man on the planet. If y'all could hear some of our conversations, y'all be like, oh my God, like what is wrong with y'all? This morning, I messaged her, voice messaged her to hype her up because she was presenting. I said, oh, I'm going to send the cops to your house because you about to murder it, right? Y'all, we be saying stupid stuff sometimes, okay? We were hyping each other up this morning. It was dumb, right? It was straight up dumb. But it's that kind of stuff that makes me laugh, that makes her laugh, that gets us hyped to do stuff, right? We have that person that is walking this with us. We're not doing this alone, right? Find somebody that you can connect with, that you can do this journey with alone, or do this journey with together. Don't wing it. Y'all, like I've said multiple times now, the success is in the schedule. Don't wake up and wing it, because when you get that little bit of time, when your kid goes and takes a nap, or when your kid sits down and watches TV, it's going to take you a good 5 to 10 minutes to be like, what should I do right now? Should I go work? Should I clean the house? Should I do this? And then you're going to waste all this time that you could have already had something completed if you had a plan. Okay. Don't wing it. And trust me, I don't always love a plan, right? I'm not Christina. Christina loves a good plan. I like to be spontaneous sometimes. I like to wing it sometimes, but not when it comes to this, because I know that if I wing it, I'm doing my business a disservice. I'm not putting my full attention into it. I'm not putting my full time into it. I'm not doing any of that if I'm just winging it. Okay. Biggest thing. Shout out to the women that raise businesses and babies. That's what we're doing. We're raising our babies and we're raising a business and making it successful. And that is no small feat. Not a small feat at all, y'all. It is hard. It is very hard. Okay. I know that it's hard. I live it. I've lived it for 2 years, over 2 years. It's not always easy, but when you are doing this business and you have kids, right? Or you have another job, even this can go for any of that. When you have another job, whatever it may be, y'all, you have to have your why way down deep inside you. I mean, like, it's got to be the rawest, most exposed, most vulnerable why in the world. If you went to boot camp, regionals, sorry, not boot camp. If you went to regionals in Dallas, me and Christina got up and we did a training about your why. And I told people, ask yourself, what's your why? And I had them write it down. When they got done writing it down, I said, now, why is that important? Ask yourself why that's important. Write that down. I made them do that 7 times. Because by that 7th time, guys, that's when we're down to that raw, vulnerable why, the real why, right? I shared my why on there and it brought me to tears. And if your why doesn't, it ain't deep enough, right? I talked about the fact that my oldest son, Bryson, being autistic, he does not fit into the world's mold of a normal child, right? He's different. And he can't go to a traditional school because they're going to tell him, you got to sit in this chair for 6, 8 hours, however long they're there. I don't even know. But you got to sit there and you got to sit in this chair and you got to do this work and you don't talk and you don't move. Y'all, he's got all the energy. He can't sit still. I can barely get the child to sit still for 5 minutes, right? He doesn't fit in that mold. And if he were to have to go there, he would be in trouble all the time. He would be miserable. When he's in a situation that he doesn't feel in control, or he feels like it's very chaotic, or, something like that, he doesn't feel like he can be himself. He doesn't feel safe. Y'all, that is my biggest, I need my child to feel safe, right? So that is my biggest why. I need to give myself or my son options that fit him, right? We don't need to fit into the mold of this world. We can make our own mold. Same thing with business. We don't have to fit into corporate America. No, thank you. I tried that. Peace out on that. We get to make our own mold. We'll build our own business, right? We'll build our own success. So that is where you have got to find your why. It's got to be that thing that you dig deep on those hard days, like the hardest days ever. And you can sit there and you can say, nope, it's okay. Because my why is bigger than any of the chaos that's going on, any of the stress that's going on, any of that. Right? Veronica, I love it. My office has toys all over the floor, right? My office would if I let my kids bring their toys in my room. But listen, I told them a long time ago, stop bringing your dang toys in my room, because I get up in the middle of the night to go pee and then I step on a toy and then I'm about ready to kill somebody. Okay. So, right. Stop winging it. Start working it. That's what I'm saying. Absolutely. Absolutely. Y'all, do you have any questions? Because I definitely want to answer if you have any questions. I am an open book. I believe in full transparency. I say that on my presentations all the time. If y'all have a question, I am happy to answer it. I hope that I was able to give some good little nuggets. I will say, y'all, the biggest thing, first and foremost, because I can give you these tools, right? We can talk about time management. We can talk about some ideas of what you can set your kids down to do while you're working. But the biggest thing, the first and foremost thing that you have to work on is this, your mindset. You have to work on that first and foremost, because if your mind ain't right, your actions are not going to be right. Your actions follow what your mind is telling your body. And I've shared this on a training a long time ago. But one thing about visualization, right? That I learned this whenever I was going through my counseling program about visualization. Guys, if you can visualize in your mind, right? You can visualize becoming a gold, becoming an IATAN card holder, becoming a platinum, becoming whatever, right? Whatever it is that you're wanting to do, making $100,000 a year, right? Whatever it is. If you can visualize that and you can engage all your senses into it, sight, smell, touch, right? All of that. You can engage all of those senses into that visualization. Your brain does not know the difference in it being a visualization versus it actually happening. So it thinks it already happened. So it will literally, your brain will literally make your body move in a way to make that a reality. It doesn't know it's not real. That's how powerful our brain is. It will literally make our body move in that way. One of the things that ET is sharing on his training, his conference this week, which I posted the link in the chat a while back, y'all. If you're not in it, you should be in it, because this was amazing, right? Like, it was only like $77 for general admission, and it is worth every penny. And we've only been in it for 2 days. Okay. But one thing that he said, not yesterday, the first day on Monday, he said the meaning of abracadabra, I will create as I speak. And I was like, oh, I like that, right? Our mindset and our words, as we speak, we are creating. I want to be a 2-star platinum, right? I'm going to speak that into existence, because as I speak it, my brain believes it and my body is going to start moving to make that happen. Same thing with, I want to be an IATAN card holder. I want to be the top income earner. I want to book this much in travel sales this year, right? You can create as you speak, guys. Your kids will see that. They will see that, and they are learning that there is a different way than what the world is telling them to live. Everybody else is walking this way. The crowd is walking this way. We're walking that way. We're going against the grain, right? We're the salmon. We're swimming upstream, right? We're going against what everybody else is doing, because we know that walking with the crowd ain't going to get us where we want to go. It ain't. We got to be different, right? And dare to be different. Like Christina just said, dare to be different. I'm okay being different. I don't need everybody to like me. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, right? That's okay. That's okay, because I'm going places that some people can't go, right? I'm going to some heights that some people just ain't going to be able to stick with. And that's okay. I'll take the people that can go. I'll take them with me. We'll go to the top, right? But not everybody has that mindset. Some people let things get in their way, like kids, right? Or another job or whatever. Like I said, I had a full-time job and I had my 2 kids at home when I started this. Y'all, there's no excuses. No excuses. It's got to be a why. I took those things and I turned them into a why. I don't want to do this counseling job anymore. So I got to work my business to make it successful so that I can quit my counseling job. It was draining me. my kids, right? They're not my excuse to quit. They're my excuse, or they're my reason and my why to push forward. So anybody have any questions before we jump off? Ivy, I don't know if you can still get in or not. I'm not 100% sure. You can click the link and see if it lets you still buy the tickets. Or Christina or Danielle, if either of you know, because I know both of you guys are going. I don't know on that. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, Kristen, we're talking about the Eric Thomas convention that's going on. It's on Zoom every night for like an hour. Yeah, Heather, it's so draining, right? So draining. I actually my specialty was addiction. So I actually worked with clients that were trying to get sober, and that's a whole other ball game right there. Whew, goodness. All right, guys. Well, if there's no other questions, I will go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you for jumping on. I truly hope that I was able to give you some things that you didn't already have, some motivation, if nothing else, and some little tricks and tips that you can use to help with having kids at home and working this business. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.